Marker placed. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Please select a drop point. Please select a deployment point. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Analysis.
That soldier, he isn't with the CFA.
Updated.
What could be so important that it would require 2 major PFs to guard it?
Analysis complete. Please select a deployment point. The map has been updated. Please select a deployment point.
Extract it out of the mission area. You can also drive it out of the hot zone yourself.
Fire!
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Oh, the enemy's on combat alert. Now that they know we're chasing them, the target will make an end run to its destination. Hurry up and secure that truck.
Snake, talk to me! Snake! Snake!
extract the PF transport truck. Throw a wrench into Cypher's plans. You can view the escort unit's predicted route on your map. The target should link up with them somewhere along it.
Please specify a project. Please select a strike point. Support helicopter requested.
backup chopper. Call it from your iDroid.
Please select a strike point. Support helicopter requested. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
On combat alert. Now that they know we're chasing them,
Snake, are you okay? Snake!
Activation
extract the PF transport truck. Throw a wrench into Cypher's plans. You can view the escort unit's predicted route on your map. The target should link up with them somewhere along it.
Please select a deployment point. Please select a deployment point. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Fire!
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Fire!
Mission info has been updated.
These bastards. Leave the mission area by chopper or by land.
Snake, talk to me! Snake! Snake!
Extract the PF transport truck. Throw a wrench into Cyber's plans. You can view the escort unit's predicted route on your map. The target should link up with them somewhere along it.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Please select a deployment point.
Fire! Fire!
Analysis complete.
the escort unit's predicted route on your map. The target should link up with them somewhere along it.
Analysis
That
complete.
soldier, he isn't with the CFA. What could be so important that it would require 2 major PFs to guard it?
Analysis complete. Please select a deployment point.
Fire! Fire!
Dat is Delta 3. Die vijand die heeft van ons erg gevat. Ik heb nou net zijn lijk opgespoord. Oor. Dat is CFD, begrijp. Verdere verlies is onaanvaardbaar. Van jullie oor oop. Uit.
Please select a deployment point.
Fire! Fire!
CP, dat is Delta 6. Hoe zit het daar? Slapen hier. Oor. De CFD, begrijp. Vat defensieve posities en zoek die sniper. Uit. Dit is Delta 6. Vijandige scherpschutter verloor. Blijf gereed. Oor. Dit is CFD, begrijp. Wees paraat. Wanneer hulle vlieg hier nie. Uit.
Extract the PF transport truck. Throw a wrench into Cypher's plans.
Please select a deployment point. Buddy has infiltrated. Our map has been updated. Please select a deployment point. The map has been updated.
CP, dis Delta 4. Ons het 'n lijkie. Wees op je uitkijk vir indringers. Oor. Dit is CP, begryp. Beskerm sekuriteit en vind die indringers. Uit.
Analysis complete. Please select a deployment point. Development project has been added.
Alles geht dort!
Extract it out of the mission area.
Detected.
You can also drive it out of the hot zone yourself.
Please select a deployment point. Analysis complete. Shortly.
Scott, if these bastards are pulling guard duty, that proves the cargo is headed to Cypher. Leave the mission area by chopper or by land. You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Well placed. Please select a strike point. Support helicopter requested. Exfiltrated hot zone. You have arrived at your destination. Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Development project has been added.
Mission complete. I know we can do better next time. Boss, we searched the truck you recovered. There were two primary types of cargo. First, drums of malachite, a copper ore. That took up most of the truck bed. But malachite isn't valuable enough to warrant an escort. The real cargo was likely the second item, a shielding container. The contents, yellow cake. That's right, the raw material for a nuclear weapon. That might point to the weapon to surpass Metal Gear Emmerich told us about. But who can say? Thing is, there isn't a lot of it. Not enough to make...
Side ops list
Boss,
updated.
this is an emergency.
Mission list
We had two
updated.
intel team agents undercover at the PF, Contract Forces of Africa. The CFA have captured them both. They don't have long to live. You've got to get them out of there ASAP. This means Cypher might be getting wind of our existence. We may need to move more cautiously from now on. I just hope this incident has nothing to do with them.
Requested.
I've added the details to your mission list. Don't let them down, boss.
Commencing platform construction. Please select a landing zone. Deploying.
To a clean V and was also blonde with blue highlights. Her pussy lips were tight, with just a hint of the inner labia sticking out. Mark leaned his elbows back onto the bed and appreciated the work of art standing before him. She walked forward and squatted down between his legs, leaving her mouth unmistakably at crotch level. She first reached for the black boots he had on and removed those. Then she reached forward and pulled his pants down and off his legs. He lifted his butt off the bed to help her out. While she was working on getting his pants off, he removed his white silk vest. He was surprised again at how sexy his own chiseled chest appeared. Still squatting between his legs, Sasha firmly grabbed a hold of the base of his penis with her hand. "I've wanted to do this for a long time," she said, as she playfully rubbed his cock all over her lips and cheeks. Mark spared only a moment of distracted thought to wonder where this sexy beast had been hiding. If you had asked him a week ago if his AI desired to blow him, he would have thought you were crazy. She started to gently kiss his dick all over, but kept coming back to focus on the sensitive underside of the tip. Her tongue came out, and she began to slowly lick it like a lollipop, her stunning blue eyes crossing as she focused on the job at hand. She would start near the middle, and with her tongue pressed flat and wide against his cock, she would go all the way to the top, again and again. Sasha took the tip into her mouth, rolling her tongue in a circle around it. Mark couldn't help but moan in pleasure as this sex demon was doing what succubi did best. She leaned forward, taking his entire shaft into her mouth, pressing her face down until her slightly upturned nose was touching his stomach. The succubus held his cock deep inside her throat, motionless, and then shifted her large eyes up to meet his. She slowly pulled back, sliding his rock-hard dick over her tongue and out of her mouth. As soon as her lips passed the tip, she moved forward again, giving him a nice, slow blowjob. An urge struck him to grab hold of both her smooth black horns as she slid his penis in and out of her throat, but then thought better of it. She might not like that, and he certainly didn't want her to stop anytime soon. After a few minutes of this, she pulled his cock out of her mouth with a pop. Sasha used one of her hands to wipe her face, and then proceeded to climb on top of him. He left his legs bent over the bed as she dragged her nipples over his penis, stomach, and chest. Her breasts hung down from their own weight and swung pleasantly across his skin as she crawled forward, one arm at a time. He reached up under her wings and pulled her down on top of him, and her pussy slid along the bottom side of his cock, then pressed it against his stomach. He reached one arm down to her ass and firmly grabbed one of her round, fleshy cheeks. Sasha's face was close to his, and they looked into each other's eyes as she rested her weight on top of him, pressing her tits into his chest. He used his other hand to grab a bunch of her silky blonde hair at the base of her neck and push her lips into his own, as she had done earlier. They slowly nibbled on each other's lips for a while, just getting lost in the moment. Sasha gave him one last peck on the lips, lifted off of Mark and leaned forward, pressing one of her big nipples into his mouth. She then reached one of her hands between their bodies and pulled his cock backward, following the folds in her pussy. Her lips were so sopping wet that it slipped in easily, and both of them inhaled sharply. Sasha pushed her hips down, burying his solid dick deep inside her. The electric feeling of his throbbing head sliding into this stunning creature's hot, wet pussy compressed every single thought in Mark's mind into a pinpoint of nothing. At this moment, there was only her. She pushed off of his chest and looked down on him with her bright blue eyes as she bounced her hips up and down on his dick. Succubus Sasha was easily the most
Fire.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Fire.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Er is geen manier om te bel voor versterkers van alle punten voor de aanvlieg. Schop vast en hou uit met wat jij hebt. Uit! Visuele contact verloren. Keer terug naar laatste bekende positie. Over.
subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Please select a landing zone. Support helicopter
Roger.
requested. Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
This is Pequod. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is Pequod. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
Support helicopter has arrived. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Gaining altitude. Departing.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Please select a landing zone. Heading to Mother Base.
The Knights of Iran. OHGI, OHGI, you have to see this. Tamaki yelled from the front room of the apartment. What is it? I think I figured out why Zero was so eager to have Prince Lelouch on our side. Tamaki said weakly. What are you talking about? Come in here and look at this. Tamaki urged from the other room. Alright, fine, I'm coming, OHGI said, walking into the front room. Tamaki had the television on and it was showing the news. What's going on? He asked. He saw the image of a flaming black nightmare decimating its attackers on the television screen. He grabbed the remote and turned the volume up. We are told that the two nightmares seen in this footage are two experimental nightmares known as the Lancelot and the Merlin. The Merlin, being the Black Nightmare, is also the personal nightmare of the commander of the Britannian fleet and sub-viceroy of Area 11, Prince Lelouch v. Britannia. Oh my god. OHG, I breathe. Prince Lelouch is piloting that thing. Maybe Zero was right, maybe it is better to have him with us instead of against us. Tamaki finally agreed, but that wasn't to say his opinion wouldn't change by tomorrow. After the battle, Lelouch's POV. Well, that was certainly an exciting test run, wasn't it? Lloyd said in his usual drawl, not bothering to comment on how disheveled Lelouch looked at the moment. He was sweaty from the uncomfortable heat he suffered from inside the cockpit, and the top of his uniform was undone, revealing the white dress shirt underneath. Quelling a mutiny and crushing a vicious terrorist attack, quite exciting indeed. Lloyd went on to say, "You're in a rather good mood considering the Merlin got torched," Jeremiah observed while tossing Lelouch a bottle of water. He defiantly looked like he needed it. Lloyd waved it off as the interns working in the engineering hangar removed the charred nightmare from the truck that had carried it from the scene of the battle. "Oh, it's nothing a fresh coat of paint won't fix. Personally, I enjoyed the sight of one of my creations bringing such devastation down onto the enemy." He then smirked as if he was deep in thought, flaming Harkins. He mumbled, mostly to himself. "Lloyd, you know that wouldn't actually work," Cecile reminded with a sideways glance. "I can dream, can't I?" Lloyd snapped. Lelouch and Suzaku had to resist laughing at the pair as they bickered over the physics of building such a weapon. "You know, they're already showing the footage from the battle all over the news," Suzaku said. "They said you were the one piloting the Merlin." "I see the media is being irresponsible as usual." Lelouch sighed. "Don't they realize that if the enemy knows that I'm the pilot of the Merlin, that they will be gunning for me in future battles?" "Suzaku, maybe you should break up that argument before Lloyd and Cecile get violent." "Yeah, you're probably right," Suzaku said as he left. "I think your display of combat ability will serve as a good deterrent. Plus, you'll soon have a royal guard to watch your back," Jeremiah cut in. "True, but only if we can find suitable pilots. When it comes to earning a spot on a team like that, good just doesn't cut it. If I didn't go through training and tried to go up against Cornelius Glaston Knights, it'd be suicide." Jeremiah shrugged. "Don't sell yourself short now." "Alright, I'd probably last all of 5 minutes." Lelouch conceded before his cell phone started ringing. He pulled it out of the pocket he kept it in and answered it. "Hello. Yes, I'm fine. Yes, I sure about that. Let me get cleaned up first and then I'll come meet with you. Alright, bye." Lelouch hung up and stuffed the phone back into his pocket. "I'm sure you can guess who that was. Why don't you take the rest of the day off or something? I think you could use a break." "That's an understatement. Between Cowell's failed attempt of a rebellion and you getting napalmed, I need a drink. If you see Capt, you let her know that I want to see her in my office ladder." Lelouch called as he left. Ashford. What's with the worried faces? They said on the news that Lelouch was unharmed, so we shouldn't worry. Millie said, breaking the silence between the two other students who were still in the council room with her. "If somebody told me months ago that Lelouch is capable of that, I would have laughed in their face." Rival said, still in disbelief. The scene was forever burned into the back of his eyes. Millie shrugged. "Well, it's in his blood. His mother was once a knight of round," she said absent-mindedly. "I didn't know that," Shirley cried. "Me either," Rival said, realizing at this moment just how little he really knew about his friend. He had always just accepted that Lelouch and Nunnally were simply orphans without pasts. He never in his wildest dreams imagined they were the prince and princess that had gone missing all those years ago. "Oh yeah, they used to call her Mary Ann the Flash. You guys should really pay more attention in your social studies class." Millie continued. "Is there anything else about him we should know?" Rivals asked, suddenly feeling a little miffed. She shrugged again. "Probably, but nothing I could tell you." You realize it's because of Zero that the other terrorist groups have become emboldened?" Cece asked as she sat outside the door. With lukewarm water he was currently soaking in. "The whole situation is ironic, isn't it? You really are a walking contradiction." "I suppose I am. I wonder if the blood of the samurai would have been so eager to attack if they knew that Zero and I are one and the same." It's a good thing Jeremiah was able to react so quickly during the battle. You should really be more careful in the future. You and I have a contract. I can't have you dying. What do you expect? I'm a soldier. I'm going to be in battle every now and then. If you're so worried about my safety, perhaps I should put you on my royal guard. Lelouch said sarcastically. Perhaps you should, she said airily. Her response to his retort grated on his nerves. There was a long pause before he came out of the bathroom, having just redressed himself in a clean uniform. I'll think about it, he said insincerely as he toweled off his dripping hair and then reaching for the discarded cape that was laying on the bed. But right now I have got to talk to Cornelia, he said as he adjusted it over his shoulder. When Lelouch got to Cornelia's office, she dismissed her counsel, including Guilford and Darlton, and had him sit down in a leather chair facing her desk. You used the trains themselves to strike the final winning blow. Pretty clever, Cornelia said with what could only be described as a distant smirk on her face. Don't tell me you were impressed with that old trick, Lelouch said. It's hardly an old trick, and it was your and Kururugi's piloting skills I was more impressed with anyway. It seems you have more of your mother in you than we thought. Lelouch laughed. I have to admit it was one hell of a test run. Cornelia laughed wistfully. I like seeing you prove the others wrong. Lelouch didn't have to ask who exactly these others were. He knew full well she was speaking of their other siblings and possibly a number of high-ranking nobles who had positions in the royal court. They always condemned you as a weakling, but I knew that deep down there was something more, something almost silent until now. Schneisel knew it too, though I think he knew it long before I did. Did you call me here just to flatter me? Lelouch asked cheekily. No, I want to plan an operation so we can eradicate the rest of this terrorist organization. We need to retaliate and fast. So you want me to assist in the operation? Lelouch asked. No, you fought 2 battles today alone between the Purists' uprising and the terrorist attack. You need some time to rest. Besides, I can't expect you to clean up Area 11 by yourself. Lelouch shrugged. The engineering corps needs to do some maintenance work on the Merlin anyway. You just concentrate on putting that guard of yours together, she suggested. Lelouch thought that it was something that was oddly specific to say. As reliable as Gottwald may be, he can't be everywhere at once. As Lelouch left her office, he walked straight past some of the members of her council who were talking amongst themselves. Well, you saw her face when the terrorist hit him with the napalm. I've never seen her panic like that before, he overheard one of them say. Yeah, but that was until he started hitting them with the slash Harkins and then did that spin maneuver. Pure genius, I tell you, the other said. And now she wants to retaliate because of it, the first went on to say. You can't forget she also thinks there's a chance they may be harboring Zero. Lelouch didn't bother to listen into the rest of the conversation. He should have known, of course something like that would set her off. She probably didn't want him to come because she was afraid of him getting hurt. Holding cells. Sora C, you have a visitor, the guard announced harshly. Huel looked up from the floor. Holding cells. Sora C, you have a visitor, the guard announced harshly. Lord Jeremiah did nothing but faithfully serve his prince as he has sworn to do. Marika interrupted. She couldn't help but notice her brother flinch at her words. He threw everything we worked for away over that foreigner-loving commoner they have the nerve to call royalty. Huel spat bitterly. Thanks to your actions we are no better now, Marika reprimanded as she teared up. Can't you see the seriousness of the situation? What you did could be seen as high treason. You could die for this. They won't kill me. I already made a deal with the authorities by implicating others that were involved in exchange for not getting the death penalty. Huel admitted, albeit a little shamefully. She sniffled quietly. I'm glad that you will be spared. But that still leaves the disgrace our family has fallen into. Huel, I've requested an audience with Prince Lelouch. It's up to me to restore our family's honor. I'm going to ask him for a chance to do whatever it is I must to absolve your sins against the Empire. How am I supposed to react to that? Huel asked resentfully. He knew that despite his disapproval she was a fan of the young chief commander. It was a fact that annoyed him to no end, especially when she and her friend, Lilina, would go on and on about how cute he was while giggling like a couple of schoolgirls. It didn't help matters that Prince Lelouch was steadily gaining a reputation as a notorious womanizer. The little bastard could probably get her to do anything. I don't know. I love you, brother, goodbye. she said stiffly, trying not to cry as she got up and left the cell block. She hadn't heard him whisper her name one last time. Oh. Your Highness, Captain New is here to see you, one of his secretaries said, poking her head in the door to his office. He looked up from the report he was currently looking over. Send her in. She seemed a bit nervous, like she didn't know what to expect from this meeting. Lord Jeremiah said you wanted to see me. He offered her a seat in an attempt to get her to relax, but she still seemed tense. Lelouch figured it was because of the transgressions of her colleagues from earlier that day that was getting her out of sorts. You showed loyalty by warning Jeremiah about what the purists were planning, and as you probably know by now, loyalty is something I reward. He could tell by her reaction that it was not what she was expecting. Your Highness, I'm awarding you your rank of Major back and offering you a spot on my royal guard. You want me on your guard? She didn't really know what to say. Yes, you are after all a rather skilled pilot, and your recent actions tell me that you can be trusted. Jeremiah put in a good word for you as well. So tell me, do you accept the position or should I find someone else to fill the spot? Lelouch asked. No, I mean you don't have to do that. I accept the position. Lelouch smiled. Good answer. Next morning. The footage of you fighting during that terrorist attack is causing quite an uproar here in Pendragon. The media has already dubbed the Merlin as the Black Plague. After seeing you rain down fire on the enemy, I can see why. Schneisel said over the video feed. Lelouch didn't bother acting surprised. It was early, he hadn't the energy for it, is it? I wouldn't have thought people were paying such close attention to me. Believe it or not, people are rather intrigued by you. They have been ever since it was announced that you and Nunnally were still alive. They are quite curious of what you're capable of. In a good way or a bad way? Lelouch asked. Schneisel flashed his icy trademark of a smirk. Well, that really depends on the individual now, doesn't it? I suppose it does. I imagine our brother Cassius is just as bitter towards me as ever. Unfortunately, time has not done much in reshaping his opinion of you. The same goes for a number of the others. Although after your recent performance, a few of them are starting to come around. Schneisel answered. But enough about that. I hear from Cornelia that you are currently putting your royal guard together. He said, changing the subject. You already spoke to her this morning. Yes, she was beginning to prepare a convoy for an operation of hers. So tell me, have you thought of a name for them yet? Schneisel asked. I have decided to call them the Knights of Iran, Lelouch answered. Schneisel raised an eyebrow. The Knights of Iran. The Celtic god of revenge, terror, and war, and the ruler of the underworld of the dead. Lelouch explained. Don't tell me you have gotten rusty with your mythology, O great commissioner of the Camelot project. He teased. Welsh tradition was so much to do with Arthurian legend after all. Perhaps I have. I have half a mind to go back and reread some of those books now. Schneisel laughed. Once the feed was cut off and Schneisel's image disappeared, Lelouch flipped the television back to the morning news, which for this particular network was a generous term for what it really was, little more than a gossip show that just so happened to report the traffic and weather. Yesterday's battle on the Tokyo Settlements railways isn't the only thing landing Prince Lelouch in the headlines today. It would seem that the sub-viceroy was recently seen in the medical bay of the government complex getting screened for sexually transmitted diseases. Jeremiah, who lounging in his usual spot, spit out the coffee he had been drinking upon hearing that. The picture of the Merlin being set on fire by the terrorists was still hanging in the corner of the television screen. Gives a whole new meaning to the term burning sensation, doesn't it? The other host of the show quipped, making the first chuckle before they went on. It is speculated that Princess Cornelia is establishing the health of Prince Lelouch because she is considering the advantages of establishing an alliance between the V. Britannia and Lee Britannia branches of the royal family through marriage. Similar feats of intelligence and combative skill is what may have sparked Princess Cornelia's interest in the newly reinstated prince. Are they just making stuff up now? Jeremiah asked. Colin and I are so not even. Lelouch grumbled before taking a bottle of aspirin out of his desk drawer and swallowed 2 of the pills. Jeremiah, I promised that you could kill someone this time, didn't I? Down in the con. They are saying what about me and Lelouch? Cornelia shrieked. It seems the media found out that you made him get tested for venereal diseases. Darlton said, and now they are making wild speculations about your relationship with him. He's my little brother. That's disgusting. Cornelia cried before she took a few calming breaths. We need to move out. We will deal with it after our mission. She declared, have my nightmare prepared for immediate deployment once we get there. I will take them all out myself. As you wish, Your Highness. Ashford. I get so scared for you and Suzaku when the two of you have to fight terrorists like that. Especially the way they described it on the news, it sounded terrible. Nunnally said as Lelouch poured her a cup of tea. He had come to visit after his talk with Schneisel. The gossip from earlier put him out of mood to deal with anything work-related. I'm sorry I scared you, Nunnally, he said, handing her the teacup full of warm liquid. Don't apologize, it wasn't your fault. You did what you had to do to stop them from hurting others. I just wish. He took her hands into his. You wish what? I wish the world was a gentler place, she finally said. I'm sure that when the day comes that you can see again that it will be. He said, tell me what Millie has been up to now that she doesn't have me to torture on a daily basis. Nunnally giggled. She seemed a bit preoccupied since yesterday. Like there's something on her mind. Nunnally answered before they were interrupted by Rivals, who walked into the dining room. Hey Nunnally, is Sayoko around? The Prez needs. Lelouch, what are you doing here? Rivals said, stopping dead in his tracks. Having tea with Nunnally. Rivals, what do it look like? Seeing Lelouch having a tea party with his little sister was a stark contrast to the fearsome combatant that was all over the news. Lelouch, can I ask you something? He finally asked. Lelouch nodded. Sure, go ahead. Rivals leaned in. Where did you learn to fight like that? Basic training, Lelouch said simply. Rivals shifted awkwardly. Millie said your mom was a knight of round. She was, but that was before I was born. I think she helped train a couple of the current ones though. Lulu, Millie squealed upon coming into the room to see what was taking Rivals so long. I heard some pretty scandalous things about you on the news this morning, she said, not being able to hold in her laughter. Lelouch blushed. Shut up, he grumbled. What were they saying? Rivals asked. Not being a morning person, he always got out of bed at last moment before classes started and never watched television in the morning. Millie leaned in to whisper in his ear. He listed with a blank expression before shouting, what? None of it's true, Lelouch yelled. Hey, where's Lord Jeremiah? You didn't bring him with you this time? Millie asked. What she was really wondering was if Sayoko had the man cornered somewhere. No, I sent him on a mission, Lelouch said darkly, not going into further detail. Blood of the Samurai Mountain Stronghold. Cornelia attacked in her Gloucester from above, giving the terrorists manning the tanks stationed on the mountain slope little time to react. Relics of a forgotten age. I bet they used all the nightmares in their arsenal in the attack yesterday, she said to herself as they fired at her as she came at them, but she easily dodged the onslaught and fired her Harkins at them, making the tanks below explode on impact. When she came upon a landing which led to a tunnel, she contacted Darlton. Darlton in here, correct? Yes, my lady. Shall we accompany you? Not for this level of resistance, besides they set my brother on fire and I'd rather take them all out myself, she hissed as she went down the tunnel leading into a man-made concrete-lined cavern filled with munitions and tracks leading out to tunnels in every direction. Surrender at once, you feeble-minded 11s, she ordered. The remaining guerrillas took up their arms and let out a cry of down with Britannia, firing upon the enemy nightmare in one last desperate act of defiance. This of course did not faze Cornelia in the least bit. It doesn't seem like Zero is here after all. No point in taking them out one by one then, she said to herself as she aimed her assault rifle. Rot like the vermin you are, she cried as she fired upon them, killing every last one. Lelouch got back to the complex about the same time as Cornelia's convoy did, and he was unfortunate enough to run into her. It was a very awkward situation considering what was currently being said about the two of them. Lelouch, you look well, Cornelia said stiffly. Yes, well, you had as much confirmed, didn't you? Lelouch said a little bitterly. Indeed, it seems that I may have misjudged you. You're clearly a victim of unfortunate circumstances. I should have realized as much given the exile and disappearance. Fate seems to have taken an interest in toying with you. Lelouch nodded. True, but it is as His Majesty says people exist to overcome such hardships. Cornelia noticed his eye twitch when he said this. Yes, then, you should get right on that, she said enthusiastically. Lelouch, wanting to end the awkwardness as soon as possible, agreed. Indeed, I shall go accomplish great things, for Britannia, over there. He said as he hastily left as fast as he could. Someone had requested an audience with him anyway. When he got to his office, he found his next appointment waiting for him. The girl stood up from where she was sitting nervously when he entered the room. He noticed she was in a maroon uniform, identifying her as one of Cornelia's pilots. You requested an audience with me? Lelouch asked. She gave a small bow. Yes, Your Highness. I am Lieutenant Marika Brow at the sound of her name, Sora C. You wouldn't be related to that traitor Kuel, would you? Lelouch asked harshly. Marika flinched at the sharp sound of his voice. She nodded hesitantly. My brother will not be executed if that's what you are here for. It seems that he cut himself a deal by implicating others that were involved in the incident. She took a deep breath. I am already aware of that. What my brother and his cohorts did the other day was inexcusable. Thanks to his actions, my family has fallen into disgrace. I have no right to ask this of you, but nevertheless I am here to humbly beg you for the opportunity to restore my family's honor. Lelouch's expression did not change. Then just what would you be willing to do in order to redeem your family? A look of determination came upon her face. I will request a transfer to your command and swear my undying loyalty to you if that is what it will take. I am willing to fight and die for you if I must. My knight Jeremiah will be the first to tell you that an oath like that is not something I take lightly. I do not take it lightly either, Your Highness, she replied. Lelouch paused for a long time as he contemplated the girl's proposal. He recognized her name. He knew her to be one of Cornelia's better pilots. She could have easily been part of her royal guard if the positions had not already been filled. He saw a prime opportunity in this. Very well, I could always use more pilots of your skill. Go ahead and commission the Viceroy for your transfer of command. Once that has been arranged, I will decide what to do with you. Lelouch said coolly. She visibly brightened. Thank you, Your Highness. You have no idea what this opportunity means to me, she declared before he dismissed her. Knight's Lounge. Guilford stared mournfully into the bottom of his glass. His princess had been utterly humiliated by the media today, and Gottwald, despite his best intentions, was not helping his mood in the least bit. It's really not that bad. This rumor is so outrageous that most people simply would not believe it. Besides, this is just a taste of what my prince has to go through. Such a blasé attitude when it comes to decorum is what keeps getting your prince into trouble in the first place. Guilford grumbled. He may not be as much of a stickler for protocol as your princess may be, but I can tell you that sort of behavior is simply not in his nature. Jeremiah argued. Then how do you explain him keeping a mistress? Guilford replied smartly. He is not interested in her for her carnal attributes. He keeps her around for other purposes. Jeremiah defended.